Hey guys, I've got a nice beautiful day off today, so I'm going to try to either finish up or get really close to finishing a couple of projects that I've been working on. It seems like every time I have a day off I've got other more important things to do. Today's an exception, so I'm going to go ahead and take advantage of it. The project I'm going to be working on today is going to be a cat tree that I'm building out of reclaimed fence wood. And the bad thing about reclaimed wood is it's not perfect. It can be warped, it can be bent just because of the natural weathering of the wood. It's going to have gaps in it and whatnot. Even this piece right here has a little bit of termite damage. But the good thing about reclaimed wood is that if you don't want to make anything perfect, it's not going to be. As such is the case as these things. But this cat tree I'm working on the platforms is going to be a 3-tier cat tree. This is the bottom platform for stability. I've got the middle one, which is going to sit approximately about the lower edge of the window, and the top platform, the smaller one, is going to be about 4 feet tall. I'm using 1.5 inch PVC pipe as the legs. And the reason I chose that is because it's easy to work with, and it can also be covered or painted to match or contrast however you want to. The bad thing about the PVC pipe is since it is hollow, one thing I was concerned about is that when the cats jump on it, especially Clark, he's a pretty big guy. So over time that's going to start wobbling and maybe break apart. So one of the things I need to do today is actually make some wooden plugs to fill in the holes of the PVC pipe. I'm going to epoxy those in, and then I'm going to use those to screw the wood into the pipe, if that makes any sense. Hopefully that'll work. Hopefully the PVC will hold well enough. But I got to get those plugs cut out, then get some holes cut out for this middle platform here so the legs can go through, and that's what I'll be working on today. I'm using a piece of scrap wood to make my wooden plugs for the PVC pipes. As you can see, I've already cut a few of them out and I've got a few more to go. They're not going to be perfectly round, which is okay because I want some of the epoxy to be around to fill in the gap between the wood and the PVC pipe. But I also want it to fit in there somewhat snug, so I'm going to use some either sandpaper or any kind of sander I have to kind of keep them round, make them round, and smooth them out just a little bit. Not perfect, especially because I got that point there, but I'm going to end up sanding that out and kind of smoothing it out just a little bit. The belt sander here has some really coarse sandpaper on it, so I'm using that just to wear down the edge of that plug right there. As you can see, it doesn't take a whole lot of effort to get that down because the sandpaper is so coarse. See, I've got that gap right there. That's what I want. And I'm going to end up just slightly sanding the inside of that edge there, so it'll give the epoxy something to bite onto. That way, whenever I screw these in, it's going to screw right into the PVC pipe, into the wood. Well, I just finished cutting out my wooden plugs and sanding those down to the right diameter. So now I've got to cut my PVC pipe, and I'm just going to use a basic power miter saw. I was going to try using a hacksaw, but I thought that would make the end cut a little slanted, a little off and everything. And actually this power miter saw works really well. I was surprised. Here's the power miter saw. And as you can see, if you don't have anything to mount it to, use a piece of crap old stool. That's what my dad did. Doesn't work really well, but it works enough. Ingenuity, right? The bad thing about buying stuff like this and not being able to buy it in the right length or close to the right length is that you may have some stuff left over, some material left over. That's why I've got all this wood over here. I don't know exactly what I'm going to do with the rest of this pipe, but if my dad can do this with this saw and this stool, I'm sure I can find something to do with it. Okay, what I am doing now is I've finally gotten all my wooden plugs in the ends of my PVC pipe. Now what I'm going to do is, since I do have the 2 holes right here cut out of each corner of this platform, I need to determine where else on this platform I need to put 2 holes so that I'll have the legs to brace the top platform. So I'm going to be using my PVC pipes as my guides and my templates for making those holes. I know in the past I've said that I didn't want to build this to an exact dimension, that the measurements and everything weren't quite that important, and they're not, but I did want the legs to be as perpendicular to the floor as possible because I didn't want the cat tree to be leaning to one side or the other. And when you're looking at 4 feet above the ground, a little bit of lean is going to be amplified at that height. So I also didn't want one of the cats to jump on and have it tip over or anything. So I wanted the legs as straight up and down as possible. I had the idea of taking this pilot bit and shortening it so that I could be almost dead on to the pattern that I drew on this second shelf. But since this is as low as it will go, the other idea I got was to put this hole saw right on the hole pattern and then taking the bit and centering it right in the middle there and marking exactly where I want this pilot bit to start the hole. So I think that's going to work. It'll get me a little better than in the ballpark. It'll get me right around the infield, so that should do just fine. As you can see, there's the pencil mark from where I traced the outline of that PVC leg. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my hole saw right on that line and take the pilot bit and scribe a little marking. I'll just eyeball it. It should be just fine. And see, there we go. I got my little starter mark for my pilot hole. Then once that's cut out, I will measure from this hole to this hole right here and transfer that measurement up here, and I should have my square leg pattern, and it should make for a sturdy platform, hopefully. Since I'm getting ready to start putting this thing together, and after thinking about it last night, what I'm doing is I'm taking some spare wood, cutting a circle in it, and putting it in the corners just to act as a gusset for more support. And I actually may do a couple more just to kind of build it up a little bit, just to get something for those screws to bite onto so that the tree won't wobble when the cats jump on it. So I'm just taking the wood, cutting the hole out of it, and then gluing it down right now with some Gorilla wood glue. What I'll probably do is end up putting screws in the very bottom of this to kind of anchor them in place, and then I'll go ahead and start putting the legs in and drilling pilot holes for the screws and screwing them in and getting this all put together. Now here comes the fun part. I get to assemble it all now. I'm just gonna drive a few screws in those gussets that I glued in earlier just to give them a little more support so that they don't back out or anything. Then I'm going to be assembling the whole thing together, and I'm going to determine at that time where I'm going to put that middle shelf, because that's the one that's going to be hopefully level to the bottom of the windowsill, and then just go from there, start screwing everything together. Just screwed these in, and what I'm going to have to do now, once I get the other one screwed in, drill some pilot holes and anchor a couple screws from each side right here on each corner, just to make it a little more sturdy, because Clark's a big guy. Don't want him knocking this thing over or jumping on it so much that it just falls apart. So the cool thing about this is that with the lengths of these shorter tubes, I'll have my set height as far as the middle shelf is concerned. And check it out. For the most part, this is what it's going to look like. All I have to do is put a few more screws in several places, and it should be ready to go. See, it's a little rickety right now, but once I get the screws in there and a couple more braces, it should be okay. I think the cats are gonna like it. I know King Clark is going to be sitting on that top perch for a long time. That's gonna be his spot. And then you got two other spaces for the other kitties to be sitting or lying or whatever. So as you can tell, I don't know if you can, I can see it from this angle, it's not quite all, that looks better at this angle right now, but as far as the wood's concerned, it's warped, it's you know, not perfect, but for this type of project it should be just fine. As you can tell, cat tree is finished. Once it sets up under the window, it's actually really sturdy, which I was really happy about. Ava seems to be enjoying it. Ellie was the first one on it. Clark even got up on the top platform last night, and he snoozed up there a little bit. So the only thing we need to do now is Taryn is wanting to make covers for the legs, just to kind of cover up this ugly PVC, and a couple of nice cushy pads for the kitties to lay on so that they can look outside and taunt the birds. So if you like this simple cat tree, shoot me a message, shoot us a comment. We will give you the dimensions and you can kind of modify that yourself. Please subscribe to our vlog, like this and any other videos you may like or want to like. Share them with your friends, and subscribe to us, and hopefully we'll have more of this kind of stuff and anything else that's going on around here. So we're going to call it a successful project, and we hope to see you guys soon. Thanks for watching. Bye.